All right, so with all of that background about the Brown Act, our important question might be, then what does the Brown Act mean for me? The first thing we want to look at is really understanding the importance of the Brown Act. The Brown Act is not just a college rule, it is a state level requirement. It is a law. Adherence to the Brown Act helps ensure transparency and public participation in our work as a student government. And the Brown Act is state law, and violations can be penalized. Most often, this starts at correcting errors, any decisions that were made out of compliance, but intentionally violating the Brown Act can result in criminal penalties. So we're going to look at a timeline of the Brown Act using a meeting start date of July 15th as an example for our overall timeline in preparation for being in compliance with the Brown Act for our monthly meeting. We're going to start with about 12 days before our meeting, the CEA or Chief Executive Assistant will request the address at which you plan to attend the monthly meeting. You will then have about 2 days. We ask you ideally to provide that address by that following Friday, 10 days before the upcoming meeting. If you need some extra time, reach out and let us know, but you'll provide the Chief Executive Assistant with the address from which you'll attend the meeting. That address is going to go into the agenda for the monthly meeting, which our Chief Executive Assistant is going to provide you roughly 1 week before the meeting. So in this case, 7 days prior to the meeting, our Chief Executive Assistant will provide you with the agenda. That will give you about 4 to 5 days to complete the following. You need to print your agenda, post the agenda at the location where you will attend the meeting, and then submit a photo of that posted agenda at least 72 hours prior to the meeting. So if our meeting, and this date is off, this should be 7/12, Friday 7/12. If the meeting is on the 15th, on a Monday, then we need to have our agenda photos posted by Friday at that same time as the meeting. If the meeting starts at 10:30 a.m., we need our agendas posted before 10:30 a.m. 3 days before on that Friday. And then finally, all of us on the day of the meeting, in this case, Monday, July 17th, will need to attend the Zoom meeting from the address that you provided to the agenda. So that is an overview of the timeline for being prepared for a meeting. Assuming the meeting is Monday 7/15, 12 days beforehand, the Chief Executive Assistant will request your meeting address. 10 days beforehand, you'll need to provide that address. That gives you 2 days in which to provide that information. 1 week before the meeting, the Chief Executive Assistant will provide you a digital copy of the agenda, and that will leave you about 5 days, 4 to 5 days to print, post, and submit a photo of that posted agenda before 72 hours prior to the meeting that Friday. Okay, so then what does it mean to have a properly posted agenda? We're going to start with that our agenda needs to be in a place that is publicly viewable and accessible. We will discuss that in further detail in a moment. The agenda needs to stay up for the full 72 hours. So plan for it to be in a location it can remain up for those 3 days from the time you post it until the time you attend the meeting. And then finally, the photo of that agenda being submitted needs to be the photo of the agenda being posted needs to be submitted more than 72 hours in advance of the meeting. So I said we talk a little bit more about what does it mean for the agenda to be publicly viewable and accessible. This can mean something different when you're at home versus if you're attending the meeting someplace else. If you are attending the meeting from home, the agenda should be outside your house, so visible from outside. This is going to be most likely on a door or window, and it should be in a location that is viewable from the sidewalk. If you have a fence or gate that blocks your front door, you might post the agenda on that fence or gate. It needs to be facing out toward the public access up to your house, so something that can be viewed from the sidewalk. If you are attending the meeting from some public location like Starbucks, Panera Bread, the library, even a workplace, the process is a little bit different. It does need to be a location that is publicly accessible. In this case, you're going to be posting your agenda inside the location where people can access the meeting. You can post this on a community bulletin board, a window. I've put it in a display stand on a counter at a restaurant, but it just needs to be someplace inside the location. It should be viewable from inside the public location. So it cannot be posted in an employee only area or in a private study room that can't be accessed by the public. And then you do want to make sure that you have the permission of a manager or an employee that signs off and said it is okay for you to post that agenda for those 3 days. They're not going to take it down as soon as you walk out. So make sure that you have permission. And that's it. That's what it takes to have a posted agenda in an appropriate location, snap that photo, and submit it to the Chief Executive Assistant.